Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're diving into a story that is so unsettling, it completely blurs the line between a work of fiction and a truly terrifying confession. It all starts with a simple letter, but it spirals into a hidden world of obsession you won't believe. So our story starts with Yoshiko, who's a pretty famous author. One morning, she's going through her mail and finds this huge, bulky manuscript. There's no title, no author's name, just this mysterious opening line. At first, she probably just thinks, oh, another aspiring writer. But as she starts reading, this chilling feeling just begins to creep in.
And her gut feeling was spot on. This is no ordinary submission. It's a confession. The writer claims he's lived this bizarre, almost demonic life, totally hidden from the world, and now he has this overwhelming need to confess all of his strange sins directly to her.
So who is this guy? Well, he introduces himself as a poor, unattractive furniture craftsman. His only real gift, he says, is his skill. He can make these incredibly luxurious, beautiful chairs for wealthy people, objects of comfort that he himself can never really enjoy. And this is where we really get inside his head. He lays out this painful contrast between his grim reality, he literally calls it a life like a maggot, and the rich fantasy world he lives in while he's building these chairs. In his mind, he's not some poor craftsman, no. He's a noble prince with a beautiful lover.
So you can imagine this huge gap between his real life and his fantasy life just gets more and more agonizing. Until one day, he's admiring his absolute masterpiece, a huge leather armchair, and he's struck by an idea that is just truly grotesque, but in its own strange way, kind of brilliant.
He doesn't just want to build the chair anymore. He wants to become the chair. He decides he's going to live inside it as his way of finally being a part of the luxurious world he creates but can never actually enter. And his plan is chillingly practical. I mean, this is not just some crazy whim. It's a completely calculated act. He actually re-engineers the chair to create a hollow space just big enough for his body. He thinks of everything: hidden air holes, a shelf for food and water, even a rubber bag for waste. The chair is now basically a self-contained room for one.
So he does it. He seals himself inside, and the chair gets delivered to a busy hotel lounge. His initial plan is pretty straightforward. He'll just sneak out at night, steal from the guests, and then retreat back into his secret hiding place. He then describes this moment that's both terrifying and, for him, thrilling. The first person sits on him. It's a big guy who just plops down, and the craftsman feels all of his warmth and immense weight through just a thin layer of leather, with his own legs serving as the cushion.
His entire world just shrinks. Sight is gone. For him, people are no longer faces. They're reduced to pure sensation. They're just collections of textures, scents, sounds, and the very distinct feeling of their bodies pressing against his.
And here's the twist. He starts to find this new, strange kind of pleasure in this sensory world. He learns to identify people not by seeing them, but by pure touch and feel. And this bizarre joy quickly becomes way more intoxicating to him than his original plan to steal ever was. He gets addicted to this life. He's putting up with constant physical agony, cramped muscles, numbness, all of it. All for the unique, almost demonic pleasure it provides. This secret world of touch is the one place where he finally feels powerful. So after a few months of this, the hotel changes ownership, and all its furniture, including his chair home, is put up for auction. His dark little paradise is about to be dismantled. But he sees this as the next stage of his strange journey. You know, he's actually gotten tired of the foreign guests at the hotel and is secretly hoping he'll be bought by a Japanese family. He's yearning for some kind of connection with someone from his own country. Well, the chair is purchased, it gets delivered to a very fine home, and it ends up in the study of the very woman who is, at this exact moment, reading his confession. Yep, Yoshiko. And at this point, his general voyeurism completely sharpens into an intense, intimate obsession with her. He writes that he has finally felt true love just from experiencing her presence day after day. He longs for her to somehow, some way, know that he is there, holding her. He even tries to communicate his presence without revealing himself. He'll shift his knees just so to make her more comfortable, or rock her gently like a cradle when she dozes off in the chair. He's convinced that she has developed a special affection for this chair, that she can feel his living presence without knowing what it truly is. The letter finally concludes with a desperate plea. He says he's finally left the chair, and that right now he is waiting outside her house. He begs her for a sign, for her to place a handkerchief on a plant by the window so he'll know it's okay to come and meet her in person. And now we pull back to Yoshiko's reality. Can you even imagine? She is paralyzed with horror. A cold dread just washes over her. She stares at that familiar armchair in her study, which is now an object of absolute terror. Every single time she sat in it, a man was inside. But just then, right as she's frozen in fear, her maid brings in another letter, a much shorter one, and she must be horrified because she sees it's written in the exact same handwriting as the manuscript. This second note reframes everything. The sender apologizes for the strange letter and explains that the manuscript was simply a work of fiction, a story that he's titled The Human Chair, and he just sent it for her professional critique. And this leaves us, and a terrified Yoshiko, with one final haunting question. Was it just a clever, creepy piece of fiction from an admirer? Or was it a true confession from a madman who only disguised it as fiction at the very last second out of fear? And maybe the most terrifying question of all is, which of those two possibilities is worse?